You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
Hey, everybody. Hey, look at that. It's a solo episode. I'm sitting here alone. Did you have a good New Year? Did you get drunk? Did you party too hard or whatever it is people do on New Year's Eve? I don't know what people do on New Year's Eve because I'm normally working. And this year was no exception. I was at Knott's until nearly 3 a.m. waiting for people to go home. So mine, I always, holidays are always on the off day. The only one that's different is Christmas because the park is closed. But normally we just, people who work in any kind of entertainment industry like I do, we just move those holidays to another day. It's not a big deal. We like working. I like working. I like being at work. I have no problem with going to work. So even if the hours are long, it's like, this is where I want to be. I remember I was hanging out, walking the midways on New Year's Eve, and the park was very busy, which is great. We need to stay busy. And, just hanging there, talking to people. How you doing? Help you find something. There's something very honest and nice about just helping people out and, as Entertainment One, checking on the shows. So New Year's Eve was great. I had to close New Year's Day as well. So I was there. I was a double whammy. It was a whammy, like on Press Your Luck. So a couple of things before we get started here. I wanted to thank my Patreon pledgers. These people are so amazing to the show to give their money to help me out here. I'm so humbled by it. Michael Bondi, of course. I owe Michael about 7 episodes of movies, so I will get to those, Michael. I swear. It's just one of those things where I didn't realize how busy I would get. My new duties at work are just so encompassing, but I will get to them, I promise. Other people, Mike Rumble, thank you. David Carrero, thank you. Jeremy from Las Vegas, thank you. Tim Wilson, thank you. Tim was the one, I believe, who sent me the movie The Thing and the stuff for Rachel. Fantastic. Janet McDowell, thank you. Sean Marshall, if you haven't ever checked out Parks and Cons, you've got to check out Parks and Cons. Fantastic program that Sean and his wife put together. They go to everything. They go to cons I didn't even know existed. They went to Con, which is a con of cons. Not convicts or con artists, but no, I'm totally kidding. But they go to everything. Colleen and Rustlin, thank you. Patrick Winooski, thank you. And Q11 TV. Check out Q11 TV on YouTube. Robbie, my good friend from Knott's, makes very good short movies that are comedic, very funny stuff. He's the guy that put together the Don Berg cartoon. So if you ever wanted to see Don Berg animated, voiced by me, and then Robbie doing my voice as a teenager, it's hysterical. That's on Q11 TV on YouTube. So thanks again to my Patreon pledgers. You guys rock. Every month you save my life in a way that you probably have no idea. You have no idea how amazing it is to have your support on the show. If you'd like to become a pledger on the show, go to patreon.com and search 91 Reasons, and you can pledge $1. You can pledge whatever you want. It all goes to the show. It goes to help me. I couldn't be, again, more humbled and thankful for all of your support. This show started out as just me reviewing movies and morphed into so much more, and I've met so many people that this show has helped, where they talk about their childhood and how listening to the show helped them understand that they weren't alone, that we're all in this together, that so many people of my generation had the same exact experiences growing up. And I swear, this is cool. I am going to do my high school years. I think I've said that for like 2 years now, but I've actually formulated how I'm going to do that, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Those high school programs. So, but this episode, we're talking about something completely different. This year, we're talking about what's left to mine out of the entertainment of the 1980s. Everything's been used up, right? I was on YouTube the other day, and I love to watch movie trailers. I've always been a major fan of movie trailers. Some trailers are better than the movies. They're so well done. Some movie trailers are specific, like they're not even footage from the film. They're made specifically to sell the movie. So I love watching movie trailers, and I saw a trailer for Overboard. Now, Overboard was this moderately successful film in the 80s. Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn plays a rich woman who hires Kurt Russell to build her the world's most amazing closet for her shoes. And she ends up falling overboard of her boat and loses her memory. And Russell takes her in and convinces her that she's his wife. It's a movie they would never make today because treating a woman like that, I mean, that would be the utmost sin in Hollywood. How dare you? Are you sleeping with her? Because that's rape. If she doesn't know who you are and you finagle your way into her, that is rape. And even back in the 80s, people would, like, 90% of the people who brought that back to the video store would go, "This is the funniest movie I've ever seen. I want to rent it again." And the 10% would go, "This is a dark, dark movie." But here's the thing. That was one of the most rented movies of all time. I know that's hard to believe, but for some reason, Overboard was one of those movies that just completely found its audience on home video. And I'm shocked there wasn't some sort of sequel or TV show or whatever, But now we've got a remake. But of course, what did I tell you? They'd never remake it today unless you swap the genders. So now it's a rich man who falls overboard and is picked up by Anna Faris, who convinces him that he's married to her. So in this new world that we live in, it's okay to abuse men. It's okay to con men. Men are always seen in the movies as stupid. Commercials, men are stupid. So it's okay to do this. And Anna Faris is the smart, the smart, street smart woman who's going to, take this man in and teach him some humility. There's some funny scenes where he has to do manual labor for the first time and he wants to die and yada, yada, yada. Will they broach the subject of sex in the movie? Because if you tell a man, "Hey, I'm your wife, and you work hard," at some point he's going to go, as part of being married, we should probably have sex together, and she'll come up with some excuse because I don't know, because in the movies you can't rape men in the movies. They don't. It's never seen unless it's a men's prison movie. Like Shawshank, Andy gets raped in Shawshank. But as far as you ever seen a movie called 40 Days and 40 Nights with Josh Hartnett? He gives up sex for Lent. And the climax, pardon the pun, the climax of the film is he's tied to a bed and this woman rapes him. And it's done for comedic purposes. So there's a real weird double standard, and I'm not saying I like it either way. I don't care. I care more about men being portrayed as stupid. There's a commercial running right now that just drives me insane, where this woman's having DirecTV installed in her house, and her boorish husband just doesn't get it. Oh, the free internet, those speeds, And he's wearing a pink bathrobe. Like, not only is he emasculated and meant to feel stupid, but he's got to wear pink as well. And then at the end it's revealed, hardy har, he's a cable installer. Like, men are just portrayed as stupid. Watch the commercials. In the commercials, every woman is the smartest person in the house, and every man has no idea how to turn on the dishwasher. And I don't know when that happened. I think I might have talked about it on the show before. I think Homer Simpson is to blame. I think Homer Simpson proved that if the man is stupid, no one will complain. If the woman is stupid, everybody will complain. And I don't know why we can't just be even. Like, on the Cosbys, they were equal. On Family Ties, they were equal. On Growing Pains, they were equal. There was not one stupid and one smart. And it just sort of morphed into, in every sitcom, the husband's this big dumb ape. And God help him how he got this woman to marry him, we don't know. But if it wasn't for her, he would be rooting in his own filth. And I don't understand. Commercials are the worst, though, because they've only got, 15 seconds to get the point across. So it's, let's make the man as stupid as possible to get the point across. Like, he's almost drooling on himself watching this guy install DirecTV. Anyways, that's one example. I bet I could come up with 30 if I sat down and watched TV for an hour. Anyways, we're gonna see how long we can go on this. I actually sat down to, I was going to take notes of all the major releases from the 1980s and what's been remade, what's been turned into a TV show, what's been rebooted, the whole bit, right? And I realized I can do this just looking at the internet. So I had like 6 pages of notes, and I just threw them away, so there will be no paper shuffling. But I do have the screen up of Wikipedia notable films released in 1980, and what you're struck by if you look at these lists, and I do look at these lists quite a bit because I'm a nerd, is that they used to release a lot of movies. Now most movies go straight to they go to Netflix or Hulu or some other streaming service, right? But they used to go straight to video. But back then, a lot of these movies got full theatrical releases, which they just don't do anymore because it's too expensive. But we'll go through here, starting with numbers 9 to 5. That's the Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, Dolly Parton movie about the secretaries rising up. As a kid, I really liked this movie. It was on cable a lot. I watched it a lot. I've always been a big fan of Dabney Coleman. Dabney Coleman is actually still alive. I cannot believe that. He's one of those guys who just, at some point, retired, vanished from public eye. But all through the 90s, he made pretty good movies. He was always the curmudgeon in the film, whether it was Cloak and Dagger or Short Time. I remember Short Time, where he gets diagnosed that he's going to die, so he goes out to be the world's greatest cop for a week or something. Dabney Coleman was great. He had some TV shows too. But 9 to 5 was actually remade as a musical not that long ago. I think it is ripe for a movie redo. I could totally see a movie redo, maybe changing it to like a fast food place. I don't know. But 9 to 5, I think, is ripe for a redo. We're into the A's already. There's only one numbered movie released in 1980, 9 to 5. In the A's, Airplane, there's no need to remake Airplane because those guys who made those movies, not another this movie, disaster movie, epic movie, they beat that horse to death. So I don't think there's any reason to do that. But what about Ken Russell's Altered States? Have you ever seen Altered States? That's where William Hurt goes into a sensory deprivation tank and reverts to like his animal instincts. It's a scary movie. It's one of Drew Barrymore's first movies. Altered States is ripe for a remake. A really like over-the-top, scary, with some really expensive CGI effects of him morphing back into a monster. I would totally go see that. No problem. Let's see, American Gigolo, no. Any Which Way You Can. That's those Clint Eastwood movies where he's got a monkey. There's no reason to remake those. No. Let's see, in the B's we've got, the only one that sticks out right now is The Big Red One. That was a war movie starring Mark Hamill and Lee Marvin that had been on the books for the studio for like 30 or 40 years before they finally decided to make it. It didn't make a lot of money, so I don't think... the big thing with these remakes and these reboots is they want to pick iconic movies, but I think if they mind some of the smaller films of the 80s, they might have better luck. because it might be something that not everybody recognizes, but the people that do recognize would go. They get both worlds, new and old, right? But let's see. The Blue Lagoon. I know they remade The Blue Lagoon in the 90s with Mila Jovovich. I think every generation should get their own Blue Lagoon. If they want to remake it now, I wouldn't have a problem with that. The Blues Brothers. Well, we know what happens when they try to mess with the Blues Brothers, right? We get the Blues Brothers 2000. And the less said about that crap fest, the better. Just let the Blues Brothers go. There's no need to ever go back to that well. Caddyshack, please don't. Please don't remake Caddyshack. The Changeling. Remember The Changeling came out a few years ago, and it starred Angelina Jolie. I thought it was a remake of the George C. Scott Ghost movie, but it turned out it was not. So if they want to remake the George C. Scott Changeling, the Ghost movie, I would be all about that. But again, this is not a big movie, So we're already in the D's. Dress to Kill, that's Brian De Palma's movie with Michael Caine. That's a scary movie. But I don't know if remaking it would cause any waves. I don't think anybody even remembers it. How about David Lynch's The Elephant Man? I could see them remaking The Elephant Man. It might be one of David Lynch's better movies. I mean, he's made a lot of great movies, but The Elephant Man is just so honest. It's so good. Black and white, Anthony Hopkins, John Hurt. But I don't know if, remaking it's not going to be that big. Because here's the thing. When they remake these things, not only do they want name recognition, but they want a $200 million weekend. And I think that apart from a few, all of those $200 million possible remakes, they've all been done. They've all been taken away. Here, I'll give you one. Fade to Black. Fade to Black is this really small horror movie about a guy who loves horror movies. It's a great film. I could totally see them remaking it. But again, not a big hit. Fame's been remade as a TV show not that long ago. The Final Countdown, where World War II aircraft carrier gets transported back to, where a modern day aircraft carrier gets transported back to World War II. I can see that. I can see Michael Bay taking that on. Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon's in the works. They're already working on a Flash Gordon. Friday the 13th. They're already working on a Friday the 13th. In G, not much here. The Gods Must Be Crazy. That's a perfect film. You ever seen that movie? That's where a Coke bottle falls from the sky into an African tribe and they think it's a terrible omen sent by God himself. So this one guy makes the journey back to the city to return it. I could totally see them trying to remake it and just failing miserably. Leave it alone. H, not a lot. Herbie Goes Bananas. They remade Herbie not that long ago with Lindsay Lohan. We know how well that went. The only good part about that movie was Michael Keaton as her father. Humanoids from the Deep. How to Beat the High Cost of Living. Hero at Large. I'm actually a big fan of this movie. John Ritter plays an out-of-work actor who accidentally takes a costume home from an audition, and while wearing the costume, thwarts a robbery. So he becomes like a real-life New York hero. It's a cute, sweet little movie. It'd be fun to remake it. It almost would be an antidote to these big, giant, clunky superhero movies that we're getting, and they seem to get more clunky and convoluted as the time goes on. I mean, it wasn't that long ago Iron Man was fighting terrorists, and now he's fighting a big purple guy who wants to get a glove and put all the gems on it so the glove will be really powerful. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, superhero movies have gotten so freaking complicated. Nothing. There's nothing here in I. J or K? Nothing in J or K. L? No. Little Darlings, no. The Long Riders, no. Wow. M, The Man with Bogart's Face, no. Okay, here's one. Midnight Madness. Midnight Madness is one of my guilty pleasures. It is one of those Mad World movies, or like Rat Race, where it's a bunch of teams running through Los Angeles in the middle of the night trying to find the finish line for a big prize. I originally watched this because it stars a very young Michael J. Fox. It also stars David Naughton and Stephen Furst. It's a cute movie. It has a good song. Midnight Madness starts to get to you. You know what? I could see them making Midnight Madness again. Here's the problem, though. Again, nobody knows this movie. You know, if I walk up to somebody in the street and go, "Hey, Midnight Madness," they go, "Is that when the Star Wars toys go on sale?" No. How about Motel Hell with Rory Calhoun? Remember that, where they're wearing the pig faces? I could see them remaking that as a horror film. In fact, they might have. It might have had a remake. I don't know. N, Nothing. O, Nothing. P and Q, Popeye. Now, the Popeye, big budget Popeye cartoon this time, that was canceled. They wised up and said, are we really going to spend $100 million on a Popeye movie? Again, no Popeye movies. If you can't make Popeye work with Robin Williams, you can't make Popeye work. Private Benjamin. I really like Private Benjamin. About a rich girl who loses all her money, so she joins the army, Goldie Hawn. This was turned into a pretty successful TV show. But I've always been a pretty big fan. I'm a big fan of Goldie Hawn. She's made some really solid comedies. But I could see Private Benjamin. It might have already been remade. I don't know. Maybe a Disney movie. Raging Bull. I wouldn't get near that with a 10-foot pole. Considered the greatest movie of the 20th century. Raging Bull. On almost every critic's top 10 list of the 80s and the century, I wouldn't get near Raging Bull. No, thank you. S. Seems Like Old Times. Goldie Hawn, Chevy Chase. Also stars Charles Grodin. That's a Neil Simon movie. The Shining. That was remade as a TV movie. Remember when they remade The Shining? With Steven Weber on TV, and you're like, would you want to step into Jack Nicholson's shoes on a movie? No, thank you. Smokey and the Bandit. I am shocked that we have not remade Smokey and the Bandit. With the success of The Fast and the Furious, and how people will go to the movies to watch cars slamming into each other over and over again, I'm shocked there isn't a Smokey and the Bandit remake. Somewhere in Time. I could totally see them remaking Somewhere in Time. This is a very sweet, romantic movie. Christopher Reeve is in love with an actress who died long before he was born, so he wills himself into the past to woo her. And it has a shocking ending that's fantastic. Christopher Reeve is fantastic in that film. How about Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back? Didn't they just remake that? It was called The Last Jedi. No, I'm kidding. Stir Crazy, no. The Stuntman, that's a pretty good movie, but The Stuntman is a movie that they got right the first time. There's no need to remake it. There's Nothing in T. Urban Cowboy, no. Used Cars, no. Up the Academy, no. How about this one? For W. The Watcher in the Woods. This is one of Disney's last straight-out horror movies. This one would be ripe for... Disney would never do it, but it would be ripe for a remake. I actually watched this on disc the other day. It's very slow. Like, I thought I was gonna die. That's how slow it was. It's like done almost in real time. It's so slow. But Disney would never remake it, even though, I mean, that's... A lot of people remember it fondly. A lot of kids remember watching it and getting scared. Holy Moses, no. Witch's Brew, never heard of it. Xanadu, why would you remake Xanadu? And that's it. Not a lot in 1980. So we will jump to 81 here. And let's see what's on the remake list here. An American Werewolf in London. Well, that had a sequel, An American Werewolf in Paris. Arthur. They remade Arthur with Russell Brand. What a waste of everybody's time. Oy vey. In B, Blowout, no. Body Heat. You ever seen Body Heat? That's fantastic. That's Lawrence Kasdan, William Hurt, Kathleen Turner. That's where Kathleen Turner looks at William Hurt and says, "You're kind of stupid, aren't you?" I like that, man. Very good movie. We're in C, Cannonball Run. I could, again, with that car thing I just talked about, I don't understand why they haven't remade Cannonball Run or new Cannonball Run. Remember Fox tried a Cannonball Run type TV show a few years back with Nathan Fillion. And I guess the last sort of Cannonball Run was Rat Race. I mean, close enough, right? Caveman with Ringo Starr, no. Chariots of Fire, I wouldn't mess with that, right? No. Clash of the Titans has been remade. Condor Man, Michael Crawford, Disney, plays a comic book artist who becomes his own creation. That's another one I can't believe it hasn't been remade. I wouldn't call it Condor Man. But since Disney owns it, they could take that Condor Man script, chop it up, rename it, and write about make a movie about a comic book artist who sees injustice in the world, so decides to become his own character. That would be great, Wouldn't be 80's throwback because no one will remember it. Certainly if you renamed it. In D, the only one that looks... Dead and Buried is a pretty scary horror movie. They used to show ads for Dead and Buried in the back of Starlog and Fangoria when I was a kid, and the ad is a face coming out of the ground. It scared the daylights out of me. But the only one in D that looks interesting would be Dragon Slayer, which was ILM's real first attempt at a movie, a living, breathing dragon in a film. Vermithrax. We were always in awe of the way Vermithrax looked on the screen. But, with Game of Thrones and Dragonheart and Reign of Fire, I think we've seen the Dragon movie done. And I don't think people even remember Dragon Slayer. How about The Entity? Barbara Hershey, Ron Silver. If you've never seen The Entity, this movie will mess you up. This is a woman being haunted by a ghost that wants to rape her. That is a real movie, folks. I remember getting an issue of one of those behind the scenes of movies magazines, and they showed how all the effects in The Entity were done. And one of them was they had made fake breasts for Barbara Hershey. And when they pulled on these cables, invisible fingers looked like they were grasping her breasts. Scary, scary, scary movie. The finale of the film, they recreate her apartment on a sound stage so they can put cameras everywhere and actually catch the ghost in the act of raping her. They should remake this movie. Whether anybody remembers it or not, they should remake this movie just because it's so friggin' scary. Escape from New York. Well, we know how Escape from LA went, and there is a remake on the books. The Evil Dead was remade. Excalibur, there's no reason to remake Excalibur. The King Arthur story has been done to death. Excalibur is one of the best. Let's see, The Fox and the Hound, no. Friday the 13th Part 2, no. We're into G already. Ghost Story, I could see them remaking Ghost Story. That's another older man, looking at the past, and there's a ghost story in there. Great Muppet Caper, they still make Muppet movies. Halloween 2, no. Heartbeeps. Why don't we remake Heartbeeps? If we're going to remake something from the 80s, let's remake Andy Kaufman's almost unwatchable movie about robots. This movie is so bad. And it's so bad. I'm an Andy Kaufman fan. And even I have a hard time getting through this. This is about two robots who escape the robot factory. They have a baby, and they try to start their own life. And it's even worse than I'm describing. The only bright spot to any of it is that Stan Winston, this is one of his early projects. Heavy Metal, the cartoon, they actually did a sequel to Heavy Metal 2000. So that's been done. The Howling, I could see them remaking The Howling. The Incredible Shrinking Woman, No need for that. Downsizing just bombed, so I don't think we're going to see any shrinking people movies ever again. We're in L, the Legend of the Lone Ranger. They remade the Lone Ranger. They mined this. I don't think they were aiming for as low as this one, because that's one of the worst movies ever made. But Johnny Depp's Tonto in Lone Ranger and Armie Hammer as Lone Ranger, that's one of the worst films I've ever seen. Like, it's so bad. That movie is so bad that when I returned it to the Red Box, I put a note in it begging whoever rented it next not to watch it. That's how terrible that movie is. Looker. Now, you know what? Let's remake Looker. I like Looker. Looker's Michael Crichton. It features very early computer graphics. It's where they are 3D scanning supermodels so that they can be young and beautiful forever and then killing them. And they have a gun that shoots you in the eyes with light and makes you forget everything for a half hour. I'm not giving it justice, but it's a really cool movie. A really cool movie. The Road Warrior, well, they're still making those. Fury Road was fantastic. What else we got here? Mommy Dearest, no. Modern Romance, no. My Bloody Valentine was remade. Here's the thing. We're in 1981, and we're still in a period where Hollywood is still figuring out two things. High concept movies, and that the summer is where all your money is. Jaws is only 6 years prior to this, and it takes 2 or 3 years for some of these movies to even get in the pipeline. So we haven't seen an explosion. It's coming. The explosion's coming 82, 83, 84, and that's where we'll see a complete change of the number of genre pictures and high concept films, right? So let's see here. Neighbors, they didn't remake Neighbors, but they stole the title. Nighthawks, that's a cool film with Stallone, but I don't see them remaking it. On Golden Pond, no. Outland, with Sean Connery, I could totally see them remaking Outland. Outland's about a cop on a space station who is being hunted by the mob. Again, I'm not doing it justice, but for a movie made in 81, it's got pretty good effects and a really great story. Let's see here. No. The Pursuit of D.B. Cooper, no. Quest for Fire, no. Little film called Raiders of the Lost Ark. They should probably leave that one alone, don't you think? Let's see here. Saturday the 14th, Scanners. How come they haven't remade Scanners? Where you can just look at somebody and make their head explode. I want that power. They should totally remake Scanners. Scanners scared the crap out of me too. I was very into horror movies, so that one really scared me. Let's see here. Stripes, no. Student Bodies. That's a horror film that was filmed in my hometown of Norwalk at Excelsior High. Take This Job and Shove It, Taps, Tarzan. They're always remaking Tarzan. This Is Elvis. Time Bandits. Hey, you know what? Why haven't they remade Time Bandits? I don't think they should. I think Time Bandits is perfect the way it is. But it's interesting that they haven't at least attempted a remake of Time Bandits, right? Under the Rainbow. I don't think they should remake Under the Rainbow. This is the Wizard of Oz Munchkin movie starring Chevy Chase and Carrie Fisher. I don't think they should remake it, but I do think they should release it in a format so I can buy it. Because it's not available anywhere. It's very hard to find. Wolfen. Remember Wolfen? No. Zoot Suit. Zorro the Gay Blade. Yeah, no. We're still in... Here's the thing. Not that the movies are bad in 80 and 81. But they're still appealing to adults. You know, even with Star Wars. And now Raiders of the Lost Ark. We haven't figured out that summer is when kids are out of school. You want to make high concept, easy to explain movies that are exciting with a lot of special effects. They haven't got that yet. So we're going to move on to 82. And we're going to start to see the change here. Because this is when things get different. Oh, this one is not... oh, here it is by... Let's see here. They've got them by alphabetical and by release. I'm going to go by release this time. So we have Madman. No, I think didn't they remake... No, that was Maniac with Elijah Wood, but not Madman. These aren't looking good. Let's go back to the letters here. 48 Hours. Yeah, the Eddie Murphy, Nick Nolte film, they are remaking 48 Hours. I read that just the other day. Oy vey. Airplane 2, no. Amityville 2, I mean, they just made another... they made an Amityville movie over the summer? Or over the late summer, early fall? Nobody went and saw it. It had one of the lowest per-screen averages of any film ever. Like, it was an Amityville movie. How about Annie? Is Annie ripe for a remake? Annie didn't bomb the way most people think. Annie did pretty good at the box office. The problem with Annie was that the movie was so unbelievably expensive that it needed to make triple what it made just to turn any kind of profit. So, they had merchandise and da-da-da. They remade Annie. I just remembered. They made her black and remade it with... what's his name? I can't think of his name. I'm trying to think. Electro. He played Electro. Jamie Foxx. So yeah, Annie's been remade. Never mind. We're in the B's here. Beastmaster. They should remake Beastmaster, but remake it with Mark Singer again. The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Why not? Right? Blade Runner just had a sequel. That's it for B. C, Class of 1984. That's another movie with Michael J. Fox. Conan the Barbarian just had a remake. Creepshow. Are we ripe for a Creepshow? Not a remake, but another chapter of Creepshow. I'd be about that. Dark Crystal is getting a sequel, so that's coming. Let's see what we got here. E.T. They would never mess with E.T. That's like one of the crown jewels of cinema. Don't mess with E.T. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, no. First Blood, I mean, they're still making Rambo movies, aren't they? Friday the 13th, Part 3. That's the third Friday the 13th movie in 3 consecutive years, if you're keeping score. Grease 2, Gandhi, Halloween 3. No, don't remake. None of these are anywhere near what you need to be remaking. No. Jinxed with Bette Midler, no. The Last Unicorn, it's perfect the way it is. Don't mess with The Last Unicorn. Man from Stony River, no. Megaforce. Remake Megaforce. There you go. With Persis Kambata from Star Trek The Motion Picture. Megaforce, about, souped up, gun-toting dune buggies. Why not? Let's see here. My Favorite Year, one of my favorite movies. Do not mess with My Favorite Year. Don't even think about remaking it. An Officer and a Gentleman, no. Let's see. Pink Floyd, The Wall. Poltergeist. They remade Poltergeist. Nobody cared. Porky's. Remake Porky's. There you go. How about Q? About the giant dragon terrorizing New York. What was the tagline? It's called Q because that's all you'll have time to say before it kills you. Rocky 3. They just made a Rocky movie not that long ago. I mean, everything's been mined here. I'm not finding any... The qualifications are, it has to be a big movie with name appeal. It had to have made money when it was first released so that a sequel or reboot or remake is set up to do even better. And I haven't found one yet because anything that's remotely doable has already been done. Star Trek 2, done. Like nothing. The Sword of the Sorcerer with Lee Horsley, no. The Thing, remade. They already did it. Tootsie, why would you get near Tootsie? Tron, they screwed up Tron. Tron Legacy. Let's see, Victor Victoria. No, I'm actually watching that right now. Not at this moment, but you know what I mean. The World According to Garp. No. Wrong is Right. Zapped. How about they did remake Zapped? Well, in title, there was a Disney movie called Zapped. I thought it was a remake, but it wasn't. Okay, we're already into 1983, and there's nothing to remake. We're in 1983, folks, and there's nothing I've hit upon as the big one. There are three that I consider to be remakeable from the 80s. And now that we're in 1983, I mean, we're rolling along here. But the three movies I would remake from the 80s are Dreamscape, Enemy Mine, and Inner Space. Those three movies, I think, are ripe for new effects, new makeup for monsters, and the funny thing is, they all star Dennis Quaid, and I didn't do that on purpose. That just sort of happened. I was thinking to myself the other day about remakes. I wrote those three down and realized they all star Dennis Quaid. What are the odds of that? But those are three pretty amazing movies that could benefit from a remake. Okay, 1983. 10 to Midnight? No. There's nothing in A. Wow. In B, we've got... do you really want to remake The Big Chill? No, you don't. How about Blue Thunder? They could remake Blue Thunder. Does that qualify? Everybody knows Blue Thunder as the Roy Scheider helicopter movie. Maybe that's the first one we found that has not been messed with or remade. 3 years, one movie. Brainstorm, that's Natalie Wood's last movie. That's where Christopher Walken has found a way to record people's brain waves, and he accidentally records it while someone's dying, so he actually records what heaven looks like. That's a cool movie. It's a cult hit. It's not a big hit, so I don't think it counts. Christine, would you really want to remake Christine? A Christmas Story. There's your prime example. Did you watch that thing on Fox? That live version of A Christmas Story? It was 3 hours long. Austin and I watched it, and we had the greatest time because it's one of the worst things I have ever subjected my eyes to. I can't wait to watch it again. I might do a commentary while I'm watching it. That's how bad it is. Cujo, The Day After, The Dead Zone was made into a TV show. Dr. Detroit, no one even remembers but me. And you, yes, I heard you, yes. Eddie and the Cruisers, no. Educating Rita, no. Wow. Flashdance, no. Gorky Park, no. Heart Like a Wheel, no. The Hunger, no. Jaws 3D, no. King of Comedy, don't even think about it. Krull, why would you? The Keep, The Keep is ripe for a remake. The problem is The Keep was not a big hit. It's a cult hit, so it doesn't count in our quest here. Max Dugan Returns, no. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, nope. Mr. Mom, wait a minute, did we find one? Mr. Mom. They could remake Mr. Mom. And it would be perfect now because in the movie, the dad is an idiot who doesn't know how to change a diaper because he's a man. Maybe Mr. Mom's right for a remake. Maybe it has one and I don't know it. Okay, so that's 2. Blue Thunder and Mr. Mom. National Lampoon's Vacation was already remade. Let's see here. Octopussy, no. The Outsiders, I don't even think about it. Psycho 2, no. The Right Stuff, no. Rock and Rule, no. Rumblefish. S is Sahara. Sahara. Isn't Sahara the Blue Lagoon in the desert? I think it is. Scarface, no. Smokey and the Bandit 3. Something Wicked This Way Comes. Okay. I love Something Wicked This Way Comes. And as much as I love it, I am aware that it is a flawed film because they didn't have enough money for those effects. If they wanted to remake Something Wicked This Way Comes, I would be okay with it. Again, that's one of those Disney scary movies that they probably wouldn't get near. But they could sell it to somebody. I don't know who could replace Jonathan Pryce, but I would probably go see it. Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, no. Strange Brew, no. Sudden Impact, no. The Survivors, no. Terms of Endearment, no. Trading Places, please don't. Twilight Zone the movie, Twilight Zone's been remade again and again and again. Valley Girl, no. Videodrome, no. What do we got here? War Games? Didn't they remake War Games? Yeah, they did. I think they did. They remade War Games, so that doesn't count. I thought I had another one. Yentl, no. And that's it for 1983. I think 84 is when we're going to see the big guns are going to come out here. 1984. We still have time? Yeah, we have time. All right, 1984, the movies released included 1984, John Hurt. Okay, 2010, woo, what a stinker that is. Buckaroo Banzai. Now, maybe we have another one. Maybe we have Mr. Mom, Blue Thunder, and Buckaroo Banzai. Not a big hit, but everybody knows Buckaroo Banzai. Put in some cameos by Peter Weller and Jeff Goldblum, and maybe you have something there. Against All Odds, no. All of Me. I could see them remaking All of Me. I don't know why you would, but I could see them doing it. Amadeus, never. Bachelor Party, that raunchy comedy's been done a million times. Beat Street, The King of the Beat, no. Best Defense, Beverly Hills Cop. Beverly Hills Cop is going to become a TV show with Eddie Murphy making, occasional cameo appearances. Oy vey, right? Blame It on Rio, Blind Date, Body Double, Bolero, Chud. Let's remake Chud. Remember Chud? Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. Cannonball Run 2. Children of the Corn. How many? Have you ever looked at Children of the Corn? I think there's 30 sequels to Children of the Corn. City Heat. Cloak and Dagger. That's Dabney Coleman, like I was talking about. Conan the Destroyer. The Cotton Club. Crimes of Passion. Dreamscape. Here we go. Dreamscape. Dennis Quaid. Kate Capshaw. Max von Sydow. Christopher Plummer. And the guy from the Warriors. Warriors come out to play. Dreamscape, man. This is where they have found a way to go into people's dreams. And if you kill somebody in their dream, they die in real life. So they're going to murder the president. This is a cool movie. This is Inception before Inception. The effects are wonky. The Snake Man is weird looking. But with some money, some CGI effects, Dreamscape could be a massive hit. Dune. They're always remaking Dune for TV, so no, there's no... Electric Dreams. It's funny, Electric Dreams. That's where a guy's computer falls in love with him. What do we got here? Firestarter, no. Flamingo Kid. Frankenweenie, the original one, has been remade. They remade Frankenweenie of all things. Ghostbusters. Well, they remade Ghostbusters, and we know how that turned out. Gremlins. They're in the process of remaking Gremlins. All the good ones are taken. We're in 1984. We've only found 3 movies. Hard to Hold with Rick Springfield, no. The Ice Pirates, no. Temple of Doom, no. Johnny Dangerously, love that movie. Please don't mess with it. The Karate Kid was remade. The Last Starfighter. I could see them remaking The Last Starfighter. That might be one of the last untouched gems from the 1980s is The Last Starfighter, where a guy playing a video game discovers that it's a training program for a real spaceship battle. Robert Preston is amazing in that movie. I could see them remaking The Last Starfighter. I bet that's on the books. That might be one of the last well-known films that hasn't been messed with. We're in M. I don't see anything in M. The Muppets Take Manhattan, no. The Natural, Night of the Comet. You know, I'm a big fan of Night of the Comet. It's a silly movie about the end of the world and about how two Valley girls managed to stay alive. I can see them remaking that. It's not a big budget movie though. The Neverending Story, Nightmare on Elm Street. Boy, does anybody even remember that Nightmare on Elm Street reboot a couple years ago? What a stinkeroonie, man. Oh God, You Devil, no. The Philadelphia Experiment, Places in the Heart, Police Academy, Purple Rain, no. Red Dawn they remade. All these movies have already been remade. I mean, I'm looking at... You really want to remake Romancing the Stone? No, it's perfect. Why mess with it? Speaking of which, that's the movie I got to do for Michael Bondi, so that's next on my review list. Sheena, 16 Candles, Splash. They are remaking Splash. They have switched the genders, so it is a merman. It's a merman played by Channing Tatum that comes to shore. Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock, Starman. Starman is such a sweet little movie. I could see them remaking Starman. I don't know why you would, but I could see them doing it. Wasn't a big hit, though. Terminator. They're always making a Terminator movie. Spinal Tap, no. Top Secret, no. We're running out of movies in 1984, folks. That's it. Where the Boys Are. 1984. No, that's it. I mean, we got all the way to 1984. So, out of 1984, out of 4 years of movies, we found what? Blue Thunder, Mr. Mom, Dreamscape, and maybe Starman. 4 movies. Oh, and Buckaroo Banzai, maybe 5. So, those are the 5 movies that are ripe for a remake. We will continue this in another episode. We'll jump right into 1985, which is, my favorite year of film. So, we'll see how that goes. Next week, Monday, January 8th, I'm going to be at Malarkey's in Long Beach. We're going to have bingo night. It's free to play. Come on down, grab a beer at the bar, and play bingo with me. I mean, of all things to do, right? It's going to be a lot of fun. The whole 91 Reasons crew will be there with me. It's from 7 to 9 at Malarkey's. You can go on Facebook and look up Malarkey's Bingo Night. The events page should be public. We hope to see you there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to do it. We're going to do it on the 8th and then again on the 22nd. So twice a month at Malarkey's. It's just something they're trying, and they're giving me a shot at doing it, and we'll see if anybody shows up. It'll be fun. Won't it? Thanks for tuning in. You can support us on Patreon like I talked about at the beginning of the show. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. That would be fantastic. That's up. It shows up in search engines. Check out my new book on Amazon.com, Your Friend in Time, How Back to the Future Changed My Life. And if you haven't heard enough of me talking, check out the Gemmer Collector Cast, GEMR Collector Cast, where I interview and talk about collectibles. That's a fun show that I do. It's different than 91 Reasons, has a different vibe, but it's still me yammering at you for an hour. So thanks for tuning in. Next time we'll start with 1985 and get all the way to 1989. I can't wait. This is 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?